this is beyond perception, where it's all about breaking out of a limited perception of life and waking up to our creative nature, our true self, and to our
Yeah.
connectedness with all life. I'm Simon Rilling, and I have the true pleasure to be here today with William Whitecloud, born in Eswatini, former Swaziland. William is a creative development trainer with 25 years of experience in teaching and working with thousands of people one-on-one over the years. He dispenses with the usual approaches of fixing, self manipulation, or relying on mystical forces to get ahead in life, but basically teaches alchemical principles, structural creativity, and superconsciousness. Uh, Multiple best-selling author with 3 published books, The Magician's Way, The Last Shaman, and most recently Secrets of Natural Success. He's also the founder of Natural Success, a training and mentoring provider with a worldwide client base dedicated to truly empowering people to unleash their genius and the highest level of consciousness. And to make a difference in difficult times, he and his team trained 12,000 people for free in the foundations of creativity over the last 12 months. So, welcome, William. It's a true pleasure to have you here today.
Thanks, Simon. What an introduction. What an introduction.
I gave it all.
Now there's nothing more to say about me. Nothing. You didn't leave anything at home on that one.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, as just mentioned, you are extremely successful in educating and training people in creativity, and that's also how I got to know you. I participated in your events of the last year, and they really opened up another dimension of understanding about myself, the world, and I would say also challenged quite a bit my conventions and beliefs. And one of many profound revelations I had were that I am creative. Yeah. I have an incredible intuition. Yeah. And it's right here at my fingertips, which, yeah, somehow like I had heard that before as intellectual concepts. Yeah. Like, and that logically makes sense to me. We're all connected. We're consciousness. We're creative beings. But with your events, that was really the first time experiencing it, and also realizing it that I can use it at my will. It's not some random spooky thing there. And also I don't have to practice 5 years to access my creative potential, but it's always there. And I don't have to fix myself first to use it or start using it. And also experiencing it in a way that there was no doubt anymore that we are connected, yeah, beyond time and space. And that was so different, that realization, to what I've been believing about me, the world, all those years. And where it was really about optimizing myself and fighting negative limiting beliefs, fixing me, and logically, rationally making sense of the world from a very narrow perspective. And that all said, and before we might speak about creativity, what it means and how we can access it, yeah, and I know a bit about your background, but I would really love to know, did that awareness of creativity and that intuitive knowing that we are creative geniuses and highly intuitive, was that always present with you, or was there like certain revelations or experiences which led you to discover that?
Yeah, no, not at all. Uh, but anyway, good introduction. I mean, you've left very little for me to say.
No.
You've summed it all up.
No. It's just scratching the surface here.
No, but I mean, to answer your question, no, I was absolutely, totally ignorant of my own nature, potential, human nature, human potential, the the existence of magic. Um, look, the first part of my life was the polar opposite, because I grew up with a father. He was a great man and he was a good father in many ways, but he also screwed me up very, very powerfully. It screwed me up very effectively, particularly in the sort of dark side of our relationship, was that he made me believe that I was stupid, that I was just really stupid, that I didn't have a clue, and that I was dumb, and I didn't have any intelligence or anything. And I grew up believing that, and so as a consequence, I never finished school. I was pretty illiterate and uneducated, and that's not a good start to life. So I really struggled, um, and because of that background, where I was coming from, that was like what I thought life was about. It made it for me what life was about, that I had no intelligence, that I was actually basically stupid, and that, like, belief creates reality. So I had an experience of life of being very stupid. That was confirmed at school and everywhere, that I was really stupid, and so then I thought, well, I believed that, you know, the ability to operate in life relies on intelligence. And so it's a mechanical ability. And so life is mechanical, and we are machines, and we either, work well as machines, or we defective machines, And I believe I was a defective machine, and particularly mentally, rationally, mentally, mechanically, my mind, my mechanical mind, was defective. So I had no idea of higher intelligence, super conscious, all of that, and I just had no idea of it, and no sense of it. And so I struggled, and it caused me a lot of problems in life. And one of them, one of the problems manifested as like a 10-year heroin addiction. And so I was living the most unmagical life imaginable, that really took me to my deathbed. I was very sick, and I was dying, and all that. And it's a long story, and it's too long to tell here. But if anyone's interested, in my latest book, The Secrets of Natural Success, I tell the story in the introduction. But this is the thing, is I was on my deathbed, and I had an experience where, not through medical intervention, the doctors couldn't do anything for me. So outside of medical intervention, I was healed, and I was healed very quickly. And it's an interesting story, so it's worth checking out. But basically, from that experience of being on my deathbed and then getting well so quickly, I realized, I had a realization about the causal nature of my illness, and then my recovery, and nobody told me. It's just something that dawned on me for myself, which was that my focus, had played a part in my experience of life. Um, there was a way I'd been focused that just inexorably made me sicker and sicker and sicker, and until, I was dying. I know I was dying because I was receiving deathbed counseling. You know what I mean? So that's a sure sign, right? And then I recovered very quickly. And I had this miraculous recovery, but it wasn't really miraculous. It's my focus changed. And I made the connection, right? And that there's some way in which the way in which you focus determines the experience of your experience in life. And I really got that, for all my ignorance and so-called stupidity and everything, lack of education and ignorance and all that. I got that much, and I just went, wow, there's some way in which I focus that creates my reality. But I didn't know how that worked. But I wanted to, I wanted to know how that worked. It's like, wow, and I didn't realize that there was, a new thought movement, personal development, a law of attraction, all of that. I'd never heard of people like Deepak Chopra and who were the big names of the time. I knew nothing about that. But I made that realization, and just went, so now I need to learn about this. Like, I got to find out how this works. I didn't think that there would be people available just to teach me. I thought I'd have to, I thought I'd like discovered a new scientific discovery. It's like, I didn't know that I could be taught, all about this and that. I thought, well, I'm gonna have to explore this and find out, and bring it back to the world. But anyway, so to answer your question, I didn't know any of all of this existed. I discovered it, right, and then explored it, and it was I think I've pretty much explored it as sort of as much. I feel like I have a sort of a complete understanding of it by now. You always learn things, but just basically my search is over. But it was a 20-year search, really, to really put it together, and really figure it out. So I've been learning.
So yeah, thank you very much for sharing this with us. And you mentioned focus creates reality, or belief create reality, and that was one of the things I had heard before. But to that depth, and also how to say, to that effectiveness, I've never heard about it. And to be honest, also that kind of also translates to my belief creates reality. That means I'm creating my shit, the bad, but the good. So that's I personally, when I heard that the first time, it triggered me quite a bit, because it means like I'm creating my misery somehow, and that was something which triggered me, because I thought, oh, that's some kind of new age mumbo jumbo or so, and like, but then and that's also one of the things I found so not only helpful, but also really enabling me to understand it, not just information, but understand it. You're sharing so many kind of powerful examples and illustrations which don't leave you with the words as an information. Oh, like focus creates reality. Okay, sounds nice, but like with illustrations and through your teachings, you from my perspective, you seem to really enable someone to understand it, experience it, and then also like provide some tools to apply it. And is like how to like, or like when we talk about creative potential or creative genius, that's also like a really like, I mean, like it's a word, and if you hear it without context, it's like, yeah, like that could mean like singing and writing and maybe painting a little bit, but
yeah,
like,
artistic creativity. Yeah.
Could you like share a little bit about what creativity means to you and why you might think it's important? Or
Yeah. How many hours have you got? No, let me break it down quickly and simply. Yeah. Our premise is that we create it all, and it, it's a premise. It's not a belief. It's a premise. It's a working assumption that we use, and by using it, we get very powerful results. And so the premise is that we create it all. We create everything we experience, right? And I'm not going to try and prove that now, but certainly as you appreciate, when people come and they do the work and they go through it, they soon realize that it's true. And the more advanced they get, just the more they appreciate how much, like, yes, I create everything, you see. And our premise is that the part of us that creates our reality is our subconscious, sort of invisible, feminine, creative aspect of our consciousness, of our self, creates our reality, and it creates our reality based on the messages it gets, specifically, very specifically, based on where it sees the power in it, in our consciousness. What has, like what has got the power in our consciousness, you see. And so, you see, so that's how we create. And so there's this idea that belief creates reality, and so then from that, belief creates reality. People go, oh, well, our beliefs create our reality, so we better control our beliefs, you see, because they would create reality. But it's not true. It's only relatively true. Belief creates reality as long as the subconscious sees that it's got the power. You see, look, the beliefs have got the power, you see. And really what gives beliefs the power is our compensating tendencies, where we have underlying beliefs, and mostly unconscious. Mostly unconscious in people, we have underlying beliefs. And then we actually think that the meaning of our lives, again, unconsciously, we would never know it self-consciously unless we become self-aware, go through a process that makes us self-aware. So I'll give you just, let's say, an example of a certain type of person, a person who believes they don't have worth, they're unworthy. And that's quite a predominant belief in our society. But there are personalities made up of, from that belief. I'm unworthy. So they go, okay, so I'm unworthy. That means I'm not inherently lovable to other people. I don't inherently belong in other people's company and in their lives and all that. They don't naturally, love and like me and all that. I've got to work on it. You see, that's the belief, right? So then that person will become a very helpful, approving, seeking kind of person, always like doing more for others than for themselves and all that. And we like them because they do a lot for us, right? They help us, and they, but it's not true for them, it's actually they're doing it because of how they unconsciously feel, right? So you go, okay, well, they focused on being good people, nice people, helping, or all of that. That you think, okay, well, so their subconscious going to go, oh, right, so they're nice, loving people. No, subconscious isn't stupid. It looks where the power is. Why is this person doing this? Why are they a do-gooder? Why are they so helpful? Why are they so nice? Why, even when they'd like to kill someone else, they smile? Why? Because they believe they're shit, you see. They believe they're unworthy. That's what's got the power. So that creates, you see, that creates. And that's the whole thing, that with this whole fixing orientation, and sort of self-improvement orientation. If you look at, well, why are we doing it? Because we go, well, this, because we've got to change ourselves. Because if these beliefs exist, if these ideas about ourselves exist, if these thoughts about ourselves exist, if this reality about ourselves exists, then we're screwed, because this will create our reality. And it's actually not true, because if by doing that we're giving it the power. So how do we not give it power? Is know about it, be self-aware, and recognize the existence, but ask ourselves, what do we love? What do we care about? What actually matters? What really matters to us? You see, to use the do-gooders example, and this, you've done enough of the work with me to see this, is actually do-gooders don't really care about doing good. They believe they've got to do it because they have no choice, right? Really, they don't really want to be nice people. They don't really, I mean, we all want to be nice people, right? But you know what I mean. In the way that they are obsessively competitive compulsively that way. They don't really want to be there. It's not what they came. They didn't come to planet Earth to be sweet, nice people. They came here. They got gifts, talents, things to express. That's what they want. Their hearts. That is not their heart, believe it or not. So they want their heart. So it's like, well, what is your heart? What do you want? What do you love? For its own sake, not to get you something. And then you see, if the subconscious gets, that's got the power. Our higher self, our higher nature, our true nature and purpose, our hearts, our passion, that's got the power. Well, then it'll create that, you see, and so that's the name of the game, really, is to change and to change your orientation, because by default, everybody, doesn't matter, you can look at anybody, everyone, by default, you're in a compensating tendency. That the meaning of your life really is to compensate for who you believe you are, to compensate for your separation, sense of separation, your sense of limitation. And everyone's got different beliefs, and they all compensate in different ways. And that's what creates personality types, because each personality type is a person who's compensating for a different belief, right? A particular kind of belief, you see. And so, the creative orientation, what we call creating, and as you rightly say, artistic creativity is only one kind of creativity, but creativity is the ability, just like an artist does. An artist takes a blank piece of canvas and makes a painting on it, transfers a painting onto it, or a writer takes a blank piece of paper and writes something on it, and they turn they turn nothing into something. And that's what creating is, is where we manifest realities, right? And results. And so when we talk about creating, we're talking about change. And it's a change from where the meaning of your life is resolving your identity to creating what you love, manifesting what you love, and in all of its different forms, what like whatever they are. And so that's basically what the creative orientation is about, right? And the thing about that is it is the thing that drives that fuels that is self-awareness. You have to have self-awareness, the self-awareness to separate your compensating tendencies from your true inclinations and directions, preferences in life. It takes self-awareness. And so that's why intuitive development is a very core theme or aspect of our trainings, it's not for party tricks. It's not for the sake of party tricks, although you can use it as a party trick, but it's not to tell fortunes. It's not psychic predicting and all of that. You can use it for that, but it's to know yourself, right? Is to be aware of what's going on. And I'll just give you a very quick practical, really powerful example. I have a client, and I'm just so in the excitement and energy of this, right? Where in the middle of this whole COVID pandemic and that, I have a client who has just really created a phenomenal breakthrough in their business that's just going to change everything dramatically for the company that he owns and runs, and he's been creating very well and manifesting really well, and I don't coach this person in sort of their business. They know the business, and they got their business consultants and board of directors and all that, so they don't need me for that, right? But I'm just their creativity consultant, And so anyway, they developed this plan. They got this sense of what they want to do, what they want to create, this objective, you know, and a plan to put it in place, and you know, and it's a vision. It's a vision the man got and wanted to fulfill, and then he came to me and he's like, oh, you know, I've changed my mind. And it's like, really? Why? Are the board of directors, you know, they don't think we should do it now at this time, and these are the reasons, and you know, we should save our resources, and you know, it's a risk to do this and that. And you know, they've got industry consultants, so people who've got a lot of experience in that industry that advise them, and you know, they also like, no, don't do this. And you see, there's all based on their experience and what they know and all that, right? And so it sounds all logical, but when we broke it down, I had a session with him, and we broke it down and used what we're talking about, this intuitive ability to see through things, right? You know, and that what we see is that really what he's telling me is a story. You know, it's just a structural story, but what's underneath it really, it's just reflecting his own beliefs of limitation and all that, and his own patterns of behavior and all of that. But he's used his board of directors and his consultants and all that on the surface to justify it and appear like that. It's like, yeah, you know, this is a justifiable story, but it's actually not. It's got more to do with his unconscious behavior that then is exposed. And it's like, this has got nothing to do with board of directors and consultants. This is your story. This is your unconscious behavior, and you know, buying into limitation and all that. But what, you know, what super consciously, you know, what is the part of you that, you know, operates through all time and space? What's the part of you that isn't just drawing on experience, but has an intelligence outside of everything? You know, what does it know? What does it want you to do? So you see, this awareness of unconscious orientation, aware of superconscious orientation, and then it gives you real choice. Well, now you got real choice. In the former, the guy didn't really have choice. We got no choice. It's COVID. It's a pandemic. There's no choice. We can't expand. Anyway, he saw that, and it takes a lot of courage, and hats off to him, because you know, he goes, oh, okay, so I see it, and it's true for me to go on with the plan and put the vision into effect and all that, into process. But it still takes courage, right? Because it's still some vulnerability, and he's got to deal with strong characters on his board, the board of directors. They're strong people, you know, they're intelligent, strong, successful people. The consultants are all of these people, the bankers, all of that. This is not a little entrepreneurial outfit. This is a big company. And he goes there and he says, no, you can't explain it to them. Okay, you know, look, I had a dream. It's you know, it doesn't make sense on paper, and he's got to tell them, look, this is what we're doing. And anyway, you know, he put the plan in progress, and he went for it. And in the first week, they just did so much business, and also made a deal that is just going to redefine the company. It's just going to change the company. It's going to make the company soon, just in the near future, more money than they've ever made in their history put together, of all the money they ever earned, you know. And it's only the beginning. It's just the start. So it has exploded the company, you know. And they could have just not done it. They could have just plodded along, you know. And you know, that's the power of intuition. You know, that's the power of this awareness that's out, you know, like that's far exceeds our rational capacities and reliance on just what we know from, you know, in a linear way. You know, we know it from experience. We know it from hearing it from this person. We know it, right? We the sum of information that we logically know, right? that's that. But there's that, right? You see, and that's intuition. It sees through everything. It sees through your compensating tendencies. It sees through your egoic agendas. It sees through all potential, and you know, it computes it all, and you know, gives you a direction. And so then, you know, high level creativity is that ability, and that ability to follow that direction. We call it magic, you know, and it's not a childish, stupid term, magic, because all through history, people who are really versed in magic, you know, alchemy, magic, whatever, I understand that magic is the ability to live your life guided by intuition, you know. And it's a mode of awareness, it's a mode of life, it's a way of living that's not just making up for your sense of limitations, you know, your beliefs, right? But if you don't have this power, generally your beliefs are going to create your reality, or even, you know, they will limit your reality. And I know that's true. I used to, you see, I used to always be in awe of successful people. And until successful people came to me for coaching, I wouldn't have dared to approach them myself, because I would have thought, why do they need me? Look at them. They're so successful. They know, look what they've done. They must be so clever. And, you know, that was a projection maybe of my intellectual inferiorities and all that. But so they came to me. They read my books and saw my work and all that. They went, this guy knows what he's doing. So I want him to coach me. So very successful people start, what I consider very successful people, you know, started coming to me. And like at first I went, okay, I'll coach you. But, you know, to myself, I'm going, why do they want me to coach them? What can I do for them? But then I found out everyone is subject to limitation. Everyone can go further, can expand, live life more magically, create life more magically. You know, there's now you can bring me the most successful person in the world by any way you want to define success, right? Monetarily or whatever. And I'll improve their life. If they cooperate, right? I mean, if they're open and willing, you know, I will help them easily create more magic in their lives easily, you know, because you can always pay less attention to your identity and more attention to your truth, right? And it, you know, the more you do that, the more you pay less attention to that and more attention to that, the more magic you'll experience, right? And you can always be helped in seeing how you're still given energy to that and how much more energy you could give to that. So does that make sense what I said?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you mentioned so many interesting things again now. Personally, what was very helpful when you shared your understanding of duality, and also, as you just said, that like the way we are growing up, and if we never learn self-awareness, we're basically just executing our compensations for our limiting beliefs until we become conscious of them and then choose something different. And yeah, that was really the concept of duality I heard before, but understanding it, that was the first time when it became really clear that, for example, if I am insecure and I do things to provide certainty or security, I just confirm my insecurity, and it will, like, even though maybe materially, like my surroundings will change, I might have more things which could make me secure, but the underlying feeling will not disappear because I'm contributing, or I'm focusing on that lack, and that made so much sense to me. And like, but then also what you're sharing, it also requires a complete change in self-identification, because if you look at our society, if yeah, I would suggest most people, they have no clue when you mention the term consciousness, or maybe spirit or so. They identify so much with their personality.
Mm.
And also, if you look at personal development, and I did that quite a bit in the past, it seems rather fixing my personality or improving my personality, but still within this illusion, yeah, we are born into. And yeah, you provided a great perspective to open up that understanding of who we are, but then also not just, oh yeah, like we're creative or so, but also experience it. And but if we talk about who we are, because that's almost at the bottom of everything, you know, if we identify with our personality, that creates a certain reality. But if we change that, it also opens up that window. Like, what's your definition of who we are? And also, is everybody creative? Is that something inherently human, or what do you think about those things?
Oh yes, oh yes. Every single person on the planet is infinitely creative, infinitely, genius. Um, I mean, and every person is creative. Um, though, not every person in on the planet is having an experience of genius, of high level creative function. You see, I mean, academically, this whole creative development is kind of a bit of a new field, right? I've got friends who are professors in university now in the creativity faculties, um, but it's a new thing. It's not really like a formalized science yet, where there are common definitions and premises and all of that. But if you look at the academic levels of creativity, and as I said, they haven't been formalized too well yet, and defined very rigidly yet. But that you'll see there's something like this where you get there's even a level below it, but it confuses people, so I'm not going to mention it. But just starting at unskilled imitation, skilled imitation, low-level derivative, high-level derivative, innovative, inventive, and then genius. And it's not genius in the sense of these super intelligent people with high IQs. It's creatively genius. And you see, what is creativity? Creativity is the ability to make connections that aren't normally made. You see, like my friend, my client that I mentioned about with this business deal and this business venture, and how successful he was. His intuitive genius, his own intuitive creative consciousness, can see something that his consultants and his board of directors can't see, because they're not making new connections. They're not seeing things further than just what they know. That's not called creativity. Even if you're making money, even if you've got a pretty wife or a good looking husband or whatever, that's not creativity. You see, that those board of directors, those consultants, they just saw what they know, right? Said, no, you can't do business, you can't like expand the business now, right? Because they just know what they know. They're not, but his superconscious is making connections beyond that little box, right? Going, no, there's other things, right? So it's that's his business genius. You see, he's a genius. That man is not an IQ genius. He's not Einstein, right? But he's a business genius. He is a business genius. I can tell you now. He belongs in business. He's a business genius, because not just that deal. I've watched him over quite a few years, go like that, because his genius is always leading him, right? So in that sense, we're using the term genius. So we got this unskilled imitation, skilled imitation, low-level derivative, high-level derivative, innovative, inventive, genius, right? So they're levels of creativity. They're levels of how well you make connections outside of what you know from before and connect the dots. It's how well do you see the dots and how well do you connect them, right? So unskilled imitation, you just get shown how to make a coffee. They say, okay, you're going to work here. This is how you make a cappuccino. This is how you make a smiley face on top of it, right? Okay, right? Skilled imitation, you know, it takes a bit more skill. Then you got the derivatives, where it's part of your intelligence, part of somewhat what you've already been taught. And by the time you start getting innovative and inventive, and especially genius, you're not basing anything on what's outside of you anymore. I mean, one dictionary definition of genius is that you don't have to be taught what you do. Jimi Hendrix, you know, like he's not playing the guitar like anybody taught him. People go, how does he play guitar, right? He's outside of every box that there ever was, right? He's just relying on his own internal intelligence system. And anytime you do that, the higher you go in that level of creativity means the more internalized you are in your you know, like your reference, right? The more self-referenced you are. And that's, you know that because you've learned this from me, right? And so the more you go up on that ladder, the more you're going to connect with your genius, the more real it is. But the more you just assuming you don't know shit, like I used to, because I told you about my background and what my father did to me and that whole experience, right? I was like that. It's just like, that's all I'm good for. I mean, my father told me, said to me, you know, when I was in my early 20s, he said, you know, don't worry, William. If you go to Europe and you live in Europe, they need garbage people because the people there are too clever to want to be garbage people. But you could go to Europe and be a garbage man. And, you know, like there, they pay that very well. So you could actually have a good life being a garbage man, you see? Because like, you got nothing going for you, right? So just go and do something where you just pick something up and put it in a thing and go to the next one and pick it up and, you know, because you got nothing in you. Right. So then I believed him and I actually thought, how am I going to get European citizenship so I can be a garbage man? You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding you. That's what my father told me. And I even thought, wow, there's something for me. There's you know, there's my shot in life. Eh? Marry a European girl and be a garbage man. Wow, that's great. You see, so then I think, well, there's nothing in me, you know. And as long as I believe that, there is nothing. But the more I realize what's in me, the more creative I'm going to be. And, you know, and that's the thing that we do is people come to us like yourself, you know. You weren't on the garbage man level like me, but you know, we take them because you see that level of creativity that's delineated academically is not fixed. You're not, you see, like how IQ in that works, maybe it is. I don't know. I actually don't know. But let's just say maybe your IQ is fixed. So you got an IQ of 130 and bang, you know, you can like try what you like and later they'll test you in life. It'll still be 130 or 132 or 133, yeah, you know. Okay, but it's not like that with creativity. Everyone is capable of genius level, you know, of their genius. You see, like I explained to you, my friend, well, he's my client and he's my friend. I keep saying friend and I go, oh, he's not my friend, he's my client, but he's both. He's a business genius. Not everyone's a business genius. That's his genius. If he tried to be a poetic genius, he wouldn't succeed. But whatever everyone has an innate genius. And that's the only thing, that's the only limitation is if your genius is being a frog, you're not going to be a cat. And if your genius is being a cat, you're not going to be a fish. You know, that's it. It's like, but everybody has gifts, talents, abilities, you know, that serve them in living a very rewarding, fulfilled, contributing, abundant life, you know, left to their own devices. And so that's what we do. We take people on whatever level of creativity they are and step them up the rungs, because it's teachable, it's learnable, it's not inherent, it's not intrinsic, you know, it's not fixed. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very important message, because if you go back, belief creates reality, and you never hear that, how should you create something, experience something different if you believe your beliefs? And my beliefs, they like, and I remember being at your the first event I participated in, the little voice was telling me like who are you kidding? Yeah, you're not intuitive, you're not creative, you're a machine logically, etc. But then also, and that was something I'm really curious about, to hear from your perspective, what differentiates you or your trainings from personal development or maybe other new age practices or so. Because and that's one of my realizations. And so I come from, I would say, a very rational perspective on life, or you could say a left brain dominant perspective. But then you see, or from my perspective, you combine both. You have a concept, a teaching, premises, so very structural approach to your teaching, which kind of feeds the needs of the intellect, yeah, like so that it can shut down a little bit, so that the other one can open up, the right side, the creativity, intuition. That's a bit my perspective on it. But what do you think? What's your success ingredients, or what is different with you to other trainings, or like what's the key which enables you to inspire the, like, or to turn out that creativity fire in your participants?
Yeah, I mean, look, we you know, I can't speak for everybody, because I don't have control over who comes and does my trainings and what they do with them. Because if you don't do anything with it, nothing's going to happen, right? And there are people that fall into that category, you know. But with the people that, because we got a big community, and we know, and with people who come and, you know, learn the curriculum and apply it, they become very successful, right? They create very powerful, they become very powerful creators, and particularly the people that I coach, because then I work with them one-on-one, and, you know, then I can not have control, but, you know, like I can have an influence in their lives, and influence on them. I don't create for them, but I can have an influence on them applying it, right? You know, making them accountable to the application of it, and then when they apply it, people are very successful. So it, you know, I don't care what people think about me and my work and all that. They can, you know, criticize it all they like and think of it all they like. It's just the results that count, right? So and you know my clients, and you know what we're up to and whatever, and you know, and so it's just like, you can laugh. It's like, well, I don't care what you think about it, because it's the results, and we have fantastic results. But you know, I mean, there's a lot of ingredients that you know, you can't just say very easily it's this and this and this that makes it work and makes it different from other models. But first of all, it's not about fixing, you see, and it's not about fixing, and it's not about changing who you are, and it's not about fixing who you are. And you know, I've got nothing against healing, but this isn't like a healing modality. Creating is very healing, by the way, but it's not what we do. We create. You know, we teach people to create, you see, to be the predominant creative force in their lives, which means that your life ends up being how you shape it, not how circumstances and conditions shape it, you know. And you know, that we're not healers, we're not fixers, we're not changers, we're not improvers, we're not, you know, perfectionists, perfecters, or anything. We're creators. And so we concentrate on an orientation of understanding your egoic drives and being able to desist your egoic drives, because if you're in your egoic drives, that's where the power is, and you just create more of your ego, right? So desist those drives, learn about your creative drives and orientate towards those, put the energy and the focus in those. So this, the self-awareness, the self-awareness and the understanding and powers of focus are very unique to our model. Intuition, like very high level awareness, you see, and to not be guided just by what you know from experience, but to be guided by a force that exists through all time and space beyond experience. That's very unique to what we do. Serving people in really deeply understanding themselves at an egoic level and a true nature level as well, and also what they want, truthfully what they want. Because if I just take the average person off the street and go, what do you love? They may really believe they love it. They do. They actually feel like they love it. They want it. They're seemingly passionate about it. But it's actually something that they don't really want. They want something that they want to get away from, right? It's a negative vision. A negative vision is a vision that you're looking there, but why are you looking there? Because you want to get away from there. So really, that's your vision. You think your vision is a positive vision, but it's driven by what you want to get away from, and we assist people in being able to neutralize negative vision and actually arrive at true vision, you see, which creates flow. If you understand what creates stuck, oscillating, flowing structures, true vision creates flow. And so a person with true vision is going to flow much better in life. And that's unique to us. And I'll tell you another thing that's unique to us is the understanding that tension creates. We live in a society that hates tension, and there's nowhere in your upbringing and education that they go, hang with the tension, son, or nowhere. Everyone is encouraging you, validating you in seeking comfort over tension. Like now in university, they even got they've got safe spaces for the students with cuddly toys and whatever, right? So that, they don't have to experience any tension, right? So if you know about creativity, tension drives creativity. It's it's like the engine of creativity, and all your thing of avoiding conflict and tension and all that, right? It's just killing your creativity. It's killing, because you see, your creative nature exists by tension-seeking resolution. So we set up, we teach you how to set up tension-seeking resolution systems in your consciousness and use tension so that what results in your life is what you want. We can, set up a tension-seeking resolution system that aims you in the direction of your true desires in life, and ensure that they manifest, because tension seeks resolution, and so it's different than stress. Like, oh well, I don't want to be in a model of living tension. If you don't understand what tension means, there's a very big difference between creative tension and stress. And quite frankly, stress is just created by a negative relationship to tension. You know, if you didn't have a negative relationship to tension, you wouldn't have stress, right? So it's not stress. Stress is a killer. We acknowledge that it's unhealthy. It's creatively unhealthy in that. But actual tension, and so when people come to us, they go like, wow. There's some real misconceptions that they're disabused of. Like, it's like, wow, oh, tension's good. Oh, wow. That, they've never, I don't know about I don't know a lot about other modalities. I'm not interested in them, frankly. I just know that when people come and work with me, that's like one of the big, aha, wow. Oh my God. Tension creates. Oh, tension is good. Oh, wow. That's a very big difference, right? All of the things I'm talking about now, and that's not even going into intuition and like how intuition works, and then the misconceptions that people have that just totally preclude them from being in touch with their intuition, because they're working with assumptions that are wrong, that just keep them outside of their intuition. And I was interested in something you said at the beginning in your introduction earlier on, where you said, it's not just a random thing that just happens now and then, because that's how people think of intuition, like this gut feel you get sometimes, don't go down this alley,
or you're just not that person who has it.
My uncle's going to call me, and wow, the phone rings, and wow, it's my uncle. Look at that. Intuition is a permanent mode of awareness. It's a permanent higher mode of awareness that will continually guiding you to your highest good. That's accessible, available in every second and moment of your life, So these are big, like, I don't know if they're, well, I think they are big differences, but they're certainly big aspects of our work. And as I said, I don't really know much about other work. I just know what people are amazed by when they come and do this work, and it's just the things we've been talking about now are some of the things, the key things that people are really blown away by, which means they obviously didn't experience it out there before, Yeah.
Yeah, I know we're about to run out of time, but one thing I wanted to share with you, which I also see as a key differentiator, or which I see very different to other trainings as well. The first thing is that you introduce premises, so you explicitly say it's not a belief system; it's something it's a suggestion, but then you test it, you evaluate, and you take it aboard if you like or don't. It's not a belief system which you get indoctrinated in, let's call it that way. And the other thing that I found very, very like trust generating, but also very
accessible.
Accessible. And the other thing is you introduce always at your workshops a couple of values, and one of them is truth. And I found like incredible valuable, of course, but it also and I give an example of how that helped me is or like the process of accessing that other mode of awareness, or like stepping out of that construct, those limiting beliefs, thoughts, etc., is acknowledging them, being truthful. And also within those workshops, you get to hear that the other participants, they have the same chatter going on. It's the same dynamic. And because we're like in that surrounding truthful, it's about acknowledging it, like sharing it, and that kind of helps to get that outside perspective. It's not just me who has limitations or struggle or something, but it's somehow nature of our vehicle somehow, and that kind of like takes charge from it, and so it's not about like putting a patch on now I'm creative, but it's really acknowledging what's the like somehow the truth, but then deciding consciously about where you want to really put your focus and power. So that's just my perspective, which I like really found also so valuable. And I know we are out of time. So, William, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time, sharing your wisdom with all of us. And if there's something else you want to share with the listeners, uh, please, I will add information about you and your curriculum to the show notes so that people can get in touch, get to know you, and learn about what you're doing, also your books. But if there's something else you want to share, please.
Well. Thanks you. Thanks for the chat. Was really a pleasure. Having this chat and talking about this magic, which it is. It's very magical. And yeah, I mean, if you give the information, that's great. I highly recommend people read my books, obviously. And also, if I assume you'll give the my website and
Yeah. I will add everything there.
if
So
people visit that and opt in for my newsletter, and just so people know, we're not a big marketing company and sending people stuff all the time and offers and special deal. Not at all. Like we got enough work on our plate to be doing stuff like that. But why I suggest it, you get a couple of newsletters every week with good information on these subjects we've been talking about. But also you can be aware when we do our next free course, and certainly if people are, think that what they've heard today is interesting and would be worth like getting, clued up on. We're running a free course now, but I mean, it's running, it's full in that, but later in the year, we are planning to run another one, and it's free and it's very powerful, really good stuff. And so then if you signed up to our newsletter, then you will become aware of it when it opens, because they get booked up like you know how they go, there's a overnight practically, and so you'll be in the running to get in that. But other than that, yeah, check my books out, and they will be highly informative, and yeah, that's it. Thanks, Simon.
perfect. Yeah, I will add all the information to the show notes, so we will make sure everybody gets that. Yeah, thank you, William. Again, has been a pleasure, very insightful, and yeah, I look forward to the next adventures. Yeah.